Hi there, this is Doris, your Traveling Golf Diva, and welcome to the Traveling Golf Diva Podcast. Today, we're going to talk about taxes and finances and how we can do better with our taxes with a special guest that we have. Her name is Charina Padilla. She is with Engineering Tax Services.
Hello, divas and gents, and welcome to the Traveling Golf Diva Podcast, where golf meets travel, lifestyle, and unforgettable adventures. Here's your host, Doris Muscarella.
Welcome and thank you for your time, Charina, to the Traveling Golf Diva.
Thank you very much, Doris. Very happy to be here at your service and looking forward to this new session at the Golf Diva.
The Golf Diva Podcast. You have an incredible outline here of your experience, and as a leader and specialty in tax strategies for over 15 years at Engineering Tax Services, you've helped divas all over the world, businesses and real estate investors unlock massive savings. What first drew you to this niche? You know, I love niche marketing, so this is a niche market in taxes, and how has it evolved for you personally and professionally?
So my career has not been a straight line. I want to say, I started in the architectural and construction world as a drafter and designer, right? So I was always interested in buildings, real estate. My dad was a CPA and also a developer. So I kind of started my whole life understanding both of those items and not really knowing which one I would end up with. So I started in the architectural field back in 2006. And in 2010, I joined the Engineer Tax Services team. So I currently work at the intersection of strategy, relationships, and long-term wealth.
Long-term worth, you spoke my language.
Yeah. And just like you and I have discussed in the past, golf has been one of the most powerful relationship accelerators in my journey. So I appreciate you for putting this together and, trying to raise awareness and make sure that more women are financially savvy and that they're making the decisions that they need to build that generational wealth for themselves and the families.
Absolutely. And I have to say to our divas that are listening and everybody that's listening, Charina is also one of the founders of the Female Millionaire Mastermind Group. We're going on our third year, full speed ahead. So one of the originals, I have to say, and I'm so proud of her being in the group. Now, in your personal journey, okay, many of our listeners are ambitious women balancing careers, travel, and passions like golf, of course, because that's our passion. Can you share a bit about your own journey? Any pivotal moments that shape your path to becoming a client development director and tax strategy expert?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I want to start by saying that in golf, you can't really rush your swing, right? You can't overcorrect a mid-shot, and you absolutely can let one bad hole ruin your entire round. In life, just as a woman, we all go through it. As a mother, as a wife, as an entrepreneur, there's hardships that come along the way. And many times we really go into this spiraling mode. And when you find out that resetting and going back to your why and putting those plans in motion is when you actually find success, right? So discipline has changed me. Even in the moments where I feel that I cannot take another task or another responsibility into my hands. So we all go through these motions. I always try to focus on recovery, not perfection. And I apply that to every aspect of my life.
Wonderful insight. That is awesome, I have to say. Now, golf enthusiasts often invest in vacation homes, resort properties, or even golf courses. How can strategies like cost segregation studies help owners of luxury travel properties or even second homes accelerate depreciation and keep more money in their pockets for more golf trips and adventures?
Yeah, that's very interesting. So high-earning individuals and successful women have taken advantage of the cost segregation strategy, which is powerful, right? It's all about investing in yourself and the areas that you're interested on, right? So if you're looking at properties that are going to take you to that next level, and you're able to invest rather than create an expense for your trip, right? You would want to take a look at what strategies are going to support that structure that you're building, right? Whether it's through your lifestyle, building that generational wealth, being financially savvy, and obviously making the decisions and bringing in the proper structures to ensure that you are reinvesting in yourself, your growth, and also your portfolios. So with short-term rentals, it's very interesting how you're able to trade those tax liabilities for an appreciating asset, and at the same time be able to take advantage of the deductions and continue enjoying your trips, and supporting those other women that may be interested in visiting specific locations for golf tournaments or just for fun.
Oh, trips. We love diva trips. I'm planning a couple of them. I'm planning one to Italy it's called Golf and Wine, a trip to Tuscany, Italy. So it's in the works. So that's what we're all about. So, we need a tax deduction though, because they're expensive, I have to say. Now, for women entrepreneurs or business owners in our community who are innovating in their fields, okay? For example, designing custom golf gear, planning travel experiences, or running lifestyle brands, okay? How can they discover if they're eligible for these credits that you're talking about?
Yeah. Well, it's all about being proactive, right? Reactive decisions are not going to get you anywhere. There needs to be an intentional strategy. So once you understand the line of business that you're in, the area of focus that you want to be in, you want to research and put the time into understanding what are the incentives that will help you take your business to the next level. So for example, when we're looking at innovation projects now with technology, we have so many applications that are being created on a daily basis. There's platforms being created. So there are research and development tax credits for those businesses that are investing and hiring employees to go through the engineering, design, trial and error process. So it's just a matter of understanding where the hard science falls into and seeing how you can bring all of it together to benefit you.
There's a saying that says knowledge is power. So being knowledgeable about the tax credits that you can get, knowledgeable about strategies and tax planning and all that is crucial, especially for our entrepreneurs. We have some amazing women that have clothing lines. They have products, services, and, it's hard out there. So to know a little bit more about how you can save and how you can itemize is so important. As a woman in a technical, male-dominated field, because we know in golf it's a male-dominated field, you've built a successful career while advocating for minority businesses and women-led entrepreneurship. What advice would you give to our diva listeners who want to take control of their finances, optimize taxes, and fund bigger golf travel dreams?
Yeah, well, first of all, you need to know your numbers, right? So regardless on what business you're in or in your personal life, you need to be that CFO. Know the numbers, know how much money's coming in, know how much money's going out, and focus on those expenses and identifying how each and one of those could be categorized as a business expense rather than a personal expense, right? With the IRS, it's all about intention and documentation, right? So if you are a diva in the golf industry and you're coming up with new gear, it could be beauty products, sun protection, right? You're going through a new line of products that you're investing on to bring to market. A lot of those items, whether it's trips to different locations where you may be interviewing labs that will create the formulas that you're working on. Those trips, all of those items could be a business expense, but you need to structure it in a way and time each of those items to make sure that you have the supporting evidence for the IRS to make sure that they're allowing all of those items. You don't want to end up getting into an audit and then getting some items disallowed. So first, let's get the design right. We're all about lifestyle design. What is it that you want to accomplish? And then let's figure out the how and make sure that we are planning and timing each implementation. Timing is just as important as planning. You want to make sure that depending on what stage of your business you're in, that you are timing the implementation of each strategy. So all of those items are very important. And at the end of the day, it all comes down to the numbers, right? The numbers are not going to lie.
Question for you as a sidebar. Do you have like a checklist that we can go through or something that we could look for? And if so, how do we contact you to get that or even to ask you questions or get more information? Is that okay?
Yeah, so the best way would be to schedule a discovery call and understand what is the line of business that you're in. If there are any tax liabilities or tax mitigation opportunities. And then we'll be able to bring in the strategies and the resources that you will need to start looking at with your team. A lot of the things that I see is that we have a CPA, we have an insurance agent, we have an attorney, and they're all working in silos. I don't know about you and your business, but when was the last time that you had everyone sitting together at a table, figuring out what's the best route to follow for your specific line of business?
Never. Never, ever.
So this is how I like to explain my role. I'm not there to replace anyone. I'm there to optimize and enhance the process and make sure that there's communication and assist each woman entrepreneur in gathering the details that they need so they can ask the right questions when they're meeting with their trusted advisors.
Okay, that makes sense.
And each business is different. Everyone has different goals. So a quick 15-minute discovery call should be able to get us what we need to learn about each other to see if it would be a good fit to work together.
And that's a complimentary discovery call?
That is a complimentary discovery call.
You heard that, Divas. Complimentary discovery call. Now, without sharing any confidential information or details or anything like that, can you tell us about a favorite client success story? Maybe a real estate investor or a business owner who used a strategy to free up capital that allowed them to pursue passion, travel, or up their lifestyle?
I have many. As you can imagine, there's thousands and thousands. Well, one of my favorite clients are going to be physicians, right? They are working hard and making sure that they're taking care of our health. And sometimes they're giving up time with their families and doing what they love doing, right? So I always love working with high-earning individuals that are putting in the time, but at the end of the day, 40-50% of their hard-earned money is getting taken away in taxes. So these individuals have been able to work with me for many years, and we've been able to position them in a way where they're investing in those short-term rental properties where they are able to create the deductions and keep their hard-earned money in their pockets, but then at the same time, they're creating the space for them to travel to different states, even different parts of the world, with their families to enjoy some time off without distractions, right? But at the same time, they are creating and generating new streams of income for themselves and for their families. So they're definitely looking at the future and not being reactive. They're They're putting solutions in place to make sure that everyone's set up for success.
That is awesome. Okay. That is great. Now, for our podcast is all about embracing golf and adventure in our own terms, of course, because that's who we are. For high-achieving women who travel frequently for golf getaways, tournaments, and luxury escapes like the host of this podcast, what are some smart tax moves that you highly recommend?
Well, you definitely want to make sure that during these trips, you are spending at least 51% of your time in business-related activities.
So,
As you're going through, yes, you may be doing some networking. Maybe you are working as a brand ambassador for a brand that you love. cr- you know, Looking at collaboration opportunities with other divas in the area that you're visiting, and keeping the documentation of how those meetings have evolved and those relationships have been strengthened by you visiting those locations and meeting with people. Not everything is obviously going to be allowed, but it's worth looking at what your itinerary is and how you can fit certain items in there to help you in the long run.
I like that. I really like that. I'm becoming a brand ambassador for some clothing lines that I love. So I'm glad you said that. 51% divas. Remember that. Now, future of tax strategy, like looking ahead. How do you see tax incentives evolving, especially for real estate, innovation, sustainable investment? And what should savvy investors like our divas and business owners be watching for in the coming years?
Yeah, well, the tax legislations have evolved tremendously over the past 10 years. We just had a major tax bill last July that was enacted for real estate investors. A lot of opportunities are already in place, and I do see other opportunities coming up that will expand impact and will allow us to have those conversations and make sure that we are bringing in those opportunities to the table. I would say with the current legislation, we're pretty much set through 2030. But for business owners, there's constant information coming through as far as like qualified business income allowances, and there's many things that I always say, hey, let's connect with your CPA and make sure that all of these items are being looked at and that you're taking the best advantage of each of those items.
Charina, you've shared so much value to us today. For listeners inspired to explore these tax opportunity, what is the best first step? Perhaps reaching out with no obligation, as you said. You could get a discovery call for 15 minutes for free, complimentary. And personally, what's one dream golf destination or adventure still in your bucket list?
Oh my goodness. There's definitely great golf courses around the world. I really don't have a checklist. I don't know yet, but I'm working towards that. And I think with everything, and I always say this, like, golf isn't about perfection, right? We're not here to um, make decisions when we feel ready, right? It's it's part of the process. The idea is to start getting comfortable with who we are, being present, and taking that step to get into the next course and getting better at the sport and continue building those relationships.
So golf is a building of relationships. You're out there for 4 hours and you meet some amazing people. You know, like they say, people are in your life for a reason, for a season, or for a lifetime. And I've met some people on the golf course that are for a lifetime. Thank you, Charina, for your time and for joining us. Where can people contact you? What is your website and contact information?
Sure. Before I share my contact information, I always like to tell everyone that is in this lifestyle journey, to make sure they are saying yes to every single invitation, to those trips. You don't know who you're going to meet and what you're going to experience. And as a leader, when you come back from those experiences, you're a lot more humble and you're able to lead with your heart, because now you're not worrying about the little things, right? We have these small stressors every day that sometimes cloud our minds. So traveling and doing what we love is what's gonna give us the clarity to figure out the next steps, even if you don't know what the end goal is, right? Yeah. So you can reach me at charinapadilla.com. All of my socials and contact details are included in there. And look forward to adding more value to your community and helping more women and empower them to be financially savvy.
Love it. Thank you, Charina, for your time and for joining me today on the Traveling Golf Diva. Divas, until next time, keep swinging, keep traveling, and always add a touch of diva flair to the game we love. Subscribe to our monthly newsletter, share and follow us on social media, and don't forget to visit our website if you want to become a speaker, you want to become a sponsor. Our website is thetravelinggolfdiva.com, and check out the latest news and guest episodes.
Thanks for listening to the Traveling Golf Diva Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, share, and follow. Find the Diva on Facebook at The Traveling Golf Diva and on Instagram at The Golf Diva. And be sure to visit the TravelingGolfDivaPodcast.com for more inspiration. See you next time.